Hi everyone. Recently I had a request to make Gary the snail from SpongeBob. So in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to do just that. The tools we need today is a little bit of water and a paintbrush. We need a length of wire, probably about 10 centimeters will be enough. A balling tool, we're going to use the large end of the balling tool, a knife or a blade. I need a pair of pliers to cut the wire and some different colour fondants. I've used this chocolate brown for Gary's shell and also a little sponge pad. So let's get started. Here's a little one I made earlier, so I'm just going to pop him in front while I get started on the second one. So I've got this brown fondant which I'm going to soften up and just take off a little piece. We only need a small amount, just a little ball. Roll it. Once I've got a nice ball, I want to squash it down a little bit so it's not so round, and then I want to pinch the sides almost to the bottom down so I get that nice shape at the bottom of the shell, and just keep working with my fingers to smooth it in. Make sure it doesn't bulge out at the bottom, so bring it in, keep tapering it and smooth it out. I also want to make a little bit of an indentation at the bottom so that it grabs the body when I stick it on. I move on to some green fondant now to make the bottom half of his body. And basically we just want to use our fingers to pat out a little rectangular type of shape and then press down on the sides with my fingers just so I can try and achieve those ripples that the snail has at the bottom of their body. Similarly, we take the blue fondant now, we make the top part of the body. Try and get the blue part of the fondant to match the size of the green, and then just use your water and brush to adhere it together. Now we take the balling tool and put the fondant on top of our sponge and just press slightly on the sides of the fondant with a little bit of a gap in between so we can try and achieve more of that ripply effect at the bottom of the snail's body. I now want to make a mouth for Gary. Just use the back end of your paintbrush and just gently press in some holes and keep smoothing from side to side until you get the shape that you're happy with. Each time you make this cake topper you may have a different expression of his mouth. Now we need to make the eye stalks for Gary, which is very simple. Just rolling out a piece of fondant. Make sure that when you do it it's not too tall, and then just grab your wire and cut a length which is about 1 centimeter longer than the eye stalk, and once you've inserted it make sure you've got some wire poking out at both the top and the bottom. The top part of the wire we will use to stick the eyeballs in, and the bottom part of the wire will of course be inserted into the body. The next thing we're going to do is roll out the eyeballs. And the best way to do it is to make a little cylinder and grab your blade or knife and cut it in the middle. I find this is the best way to get 2 even pieces of fondant, and just gently roll it into a circular shape. Now we're going to make the red part of the eye, and we do the same thing as we did for the green eyeballs. Just roll it into a little log, cut it in 2, and then the easiest way that I found is to let the ball sit on your work surface and grab your ball or eyeball, put a little dot of water, and then from the top down press onto the next part of the fondant. So there we're using the red, and that way it's a lot easier than picking up that tiny piece of red fondant and trying to stick that onto the green eyeball. Now before I put my red fondant away, I want to just finish the detail on the shell, and just rolling out a long piece of red fondant to make that swirl pattern on either side of the shell. So it's a little bit tricky to do this standing up, but just so you can get a good idea, I'm just trying to work it to the camera. What I do now is I just press it down a little bit while I'm working on the other side, and this just helps for the fondant to stick together because I didn't use any water here as my fondant's quite damp. Finally I'm going to put on some lilac spots around both sides of the shell, and basically just roll little balls and stick them onto the shell. You just want to now adhere the shell to the body, so just get your brush with a little bit of water, rub it on either the bottom of the shell or the top of the body, and stick it down. Use your fingers to gently press on the sides of the shell so you get a nice smooth join. And now it's time to insert the eye stalks, and again we'll just dampen the fondant with some water to make sure it sticks nicely. So just insert the eye stalks at the front of the body, just over the mouth. And finally, before we can put the eyeballs on, we have to do the pupils. So just the tiniest little amount of black fondant will do. Just roll 2 small circles and attach them to the center of the eyeballs. The same way we did before, pressing the eyeball down onto the black fondant. Once you've done that, again moisten the fondant with some water and slide on your eyeball at the top of the eye stalk. Reshape the eyeball if you need to, if it's lost a little bit of shape when you've been putting it on. And there we have the end product, Gary the snail. Thanks for watching.